Welcome back, boys and girls, to Your Max Podcast Now. Adam C. Engst from Tidbits found one feature in the iBooks update that was not published. Apple failed to mention iBooks' newfound ability to open ePub files from other apps has now been rectified. The practical upshot of this fix is that you can now transfer ePub files into iBooks far more easily than before. Previously, the only way was to drop them into iTunes and do a USB sync. Now, individual users can send themselves an ePub via email and transfer the attachment to iBooks. And you can also copy ePub files into Dropbox and use the iOS Dropbox app to send them to iBooks. From a publisher's perspective, even more important is that you can now tap a link to an ePub file in Safari and use the Open-In interface to open the file in iBooks. As a result, for example, Take Control Books has changed its interface for the library, so account holders, everyone who has ever purchased a Take Control ebook, can now download ePub versions of their purchased ebooks directly onto their iOS devices. As a result, when you load your Take Control library on an iOS device, you can tap links to access either the PDF or the ePub directly. In both cases, you can then use iOS's Open-In feature to send the file to iBooks or another compatible app. Last week, YouTube announced the initial rollout of YouTube Live, which will integrate live streaming capabilities and discovery tools directly into the YouTube platform for the first time. This begins with a new YouTube Live page, where you can always find live events happening on YouTube and add events to your calendar, or subscribe to your favorite YouTube live streaming partners to be notified of upcoming live streams on your customized homepage. Mac Stories reports that broadcasters like Twit already stream their content live when it hits the air, but imagine how much exposure independent or amateur content creators can get through the power of YouTube. The shift from traditional news outlets to independent blogs and journalists has already begun, and the same disruption is happening with consuming video. Also of interest, there's already sports programming for the NBA playoffs. Could good independent vloggers unroot traditional news channels like ESPN? The exposure YouTube brings, plus what it chooses to feature on their live page, most likely will be significant. AP's Barbara Ordate reports that Nintendo has launched the 3DS, a handheld game device with a 3D screen. But you don't need to spend $249 US for 3D gaming on the go. Nope, just $35 US will do. That's the price of an attachment Hasbro is selling that adds depth to the screen of an iPhone or iPod Touch. It's a fun diversion aimed mostly at kids. It can wow grown-ups too, but she's not sure that anyone will use this much in the long run. It's hardly $35 worth of plastic, but it might just be worth $35 of entertainment. The device is basically a slight update of the stereoscope, which was first demonstrated in 1851, or the Viewmaster, a later-day successor to the stereoscope. The Viewmaster, of course, never worked with applications in movies, but the My3D does. It's used with specially written apps like Sharks, which immerses users in a shark-filled underwater scene, and Sector 17, an outer space shooter. These are all free to download for now from the iTunes Store, though Hasbro does plan to start charging for some of them later this spring. Until June, the viewers are only available from Target stores. Sprint, AT&T, and others are planning to sell smartphones with 3DS-style screens soon, so Hasbro's My3D might be a short-lived novelty. Until then, though, it's worth a shot, especially if you don't mind looking a little geeky, peering into a plastic viewfinder navigating 3D worlds visible only to you.
Truth triumphs fiction!
No, I'm afraid, boys and girls, that Texas does not step into the limelight at the beginning of the week. The week begins in Maryland. Police in Maryland are on the hunt for the perpetrator of what appears to be an April Fool's Day prank that left a man glued to a toilet seat at a Walmart store. If caught, the jokester who doused the seat with glue at the Elkton Walmart on March 31st could face second-degree assault charges. Police, along with the Singerly Fire Company and the Cecil County paramedics, were called to the scene at about 7 p.m. There, they found the 48-year-old victim, who called for help after realizing the sticky situation he was in when he tried and failed to stand up and leave the superstore's restroom, Donnelly said. It took responders 15 minutes to remove the victim from the stall, but they were unable to disconnect the toilet seat from his body. Instead, the victim was taken to Union Hospital of Cecil County, where the seat was detached. He left with only minor injuries to his buttocks, Donnelly said. So, does that make it a sticky situation or a major... And once again, we begin another exciting adventure in the Magic Apple Kingdom, boys and girls. Hope you had a wonderful weekend, and yes, I put the RAM in. Did it fix the problem? No. But I've got new RAM. Remember, as you proceed this week, download, double-click, drop out.